Hello, let me tell you something about my life and find out how I feel being pregnant with the math teacher. I was like a second mother to my sister. Although our mother was with us and tried to help us, she was not always able to do it, and when we grew up we agreed that I would take care of my younger sister. Taking into account that my mother raised us mostly alone, she had 2 jobs to be able to support us and she was always away, so I took care of Ariana. The age difference between the 2 of us was very big. I was 20 years old and she was 10 years old. So in my free time I took care of taking her to school, going to all the meetings there, cooking for her, preparing and helping her with everything she needs. At one point I attended a meeting where a new math teacher, my sister's teacher, also came. He was a man in his 30s, young and very handsome, and somehow throughout the session we looked at each other continuously and I felt that something was forming between us. After the meeting we met in the hallway and exchanged phone numbers. I honestly forgot about him for a while until at some point a number called me. I had obviously not called him and I didn't know who he was, but when I answered I realized instantly that it was him and that he wanted something from me. We went out for a coffee the first time, then to a dinner, and slowly we started to have a relationship. I didn't talk about it with my sister or my mom because I didn't want Ariana to go to school and start telling everyone that her sister was having an affair with her math teacher. So our relationship wasn't a secret one, but it wasn't in full view of the world either. We were together for a year and then we broke up. We had some arguments between us and we felt that it was better to take a break. During that whole break I didn't protect myself and it happened that he wanted a faster reconciliation, and being careless at that moment, I got pregnant. I honestly didn't want a child. I told you, I had my sister and it was more than enough for me, plus I was very young and our relationship was not the most stable relationship. I mean, we get along well, but we also have a lot of arguments and we didn't know much about each other. I mean, I didn't know his family, I didn't know his friends, and he didn't know much about me either, but we can't give up the child. It wasn't in my character and I couldn't do something like that. Of course, when I found out, the first thing I did was to tell him. I didn't expect him to be very happy, but I also didn't expect him to reject me like that. Of course he suggested that I give up the child. In fact he made me choose between him and the child. From that point of view, I wasn't too impressed because my mother raised me and my sister without a father for much the same reason, and if my mother could do it, I knew I could, so I wasn't going to let a man talk me into doing something I didn't want to do. And especially one thing that I would have regretted sooner or later, so I would have kept the child and I broke up with him. I can't say I was fine, I wasn't. Of course I was suffering, but I was trying to be strong. I told my mom that I was pregnant and of course she supported me and tried to make me feel better. But the situation changed when my mother and sister found out with who I made that child, who is his father. At that moment I found out that he was married, and guess what? He had 2 other children. In my life, I would never have thought of this, because we had a relationship and we actually spent a lot of time together. I mean, we even went on vacation together. What man who is married can just go on a vacation like that and his wife doesn't know anything about him? I couldn't realize for a moment that he has another relationship because he seemed like a free man. From the first moment I wanted to go and tell his wife what he was doing. My mother advised me not to get involved, but honestly I really wanted to do it. I told you, it wasn't out of revenge. I really didn't have any problem with that woman. On the contrary, I felt very bad for what I did even though I didn't know she existed. But as I said, I put myself in her place and thought that I would have wanted to know the truth, and I did. I tried to find her and I told her everything in detail. That woman, I honestly tell you, was a real lady. She didn't yell at me, she didn't get angry at me like any other woman would have done. On the contrary, she understood what happened and understood that the only guilty is her husband. She thanked me for telling her and we even kept in touch because after all my child was going to be her children's brother. Of course she broke up with her husband and he tried to get revenge on me for this, but he didn't succeed. I know I didn't do anything wrong, I didn't do anything on purpose and I'm at peace with that.